Travis Elliott with National Control Devices, here with another tutorial video on using our NCD Enterprise IoT Long Range Wireless sensors. Today's question comes to us from Shane. He would like to monitor sensor telemetry data from our sensors, log that data to a CSV file, and then upload that CSV file to Dropbox. So today we're going to be running Node-RED on the IoT Edge Computer. The IoT Edge Computer comes with Node-RED pre-installed and our library pre-installed as well. So the tutorial we're going to be going over today is going to apply to any of our Enterprise Series wireless sensors. So if you go to store.ncd.io, click on Enterprise Sensors and Devices here on the filter, click on Enterprise Sensors, and then click on 900 megahertz DigiMesh Wireless or Singapore or 868 or 2.4. It's going to give you this list of sensors, and you can view the entire list of sensors on our site that this would apply to. So with that, let's get started. So I have the IoT Edge Computer plugged into my local area network via Ethernet. The onboard screen on the IoT Edge Computer tells me what its local IP address is. So to access the Node-RED Flow editor, I simply make sure my computer is on the same network as the controller. Then I enter that IP address followed by :1880, like this. And that will bring up the Node-RED Flow editor. While that's loading, one thing that we do need to do is we need to give access to our app. So we need to go to Dropbox.com. Of course, you're going to need to have a Dropbox account. So if you don't have one already, then go ahead and create a Dropbox account. Once you have a Dropbox account, you need to go to Dropbox.com/developer. And then from the developer page, we're going to click on App Console. And then we're going to click on Create App. First thing is an option to choose an API, which only has one option, so we'll select that. I'm using full Dropbox access, so this app will be able to access all the files and folders in my Dropbox account. And then we'll give it a name. This name has to be unique, so you're going to have to come up with something different than mine, but I'm going to call this Node-RED-NCD-1 because I already have an NCD app from coming up with this. So we'll click on Create App. Okay. And then we're going to want to, first we're going to want to go to Permissions. And we need to make sure that we check Files Content Right. And that's going to check some other boxes as well. And after you do that, you need to click on the Submit button to submit these changes to the permissions. This is basically giving the app permission to write files to your Dropbox account. Then we're going to go back up to Settings up here. Under Generate Access Token, we're going to click Generate, and then we're going to click on that, and we're going to copy it. And that's really all that we need to do here. So you can just click on here to go back to the App Console, and you'll see you have your app right here. So back in Node-RED, just refresh that page. I already have a flow here, but we'll just build one from scratch. And actually what I will do is I'll go ahead and just disable this flow so we don't have two things trying to run at the same time. We'll just disable our other flows. Now we'll click on the plus tab up here and we'll give this flow a new name, and we'll just call this one Dropbox Tutorial. Okay, now that names my tab. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down over here on the left, and I'm looking for the NCD section, and I want the wireless gateway node. So I'm going to grab that and drag it out here. We're going to double click on it. Oh, I grabbed the wrong one. That's a device node. I want the gateway node. There we go. We'll double click on that. I'm going to click this drop down here, and you should already have something like this, /deb/ttys1. And then we'll click on done. If you don't, you can double click on that and you can set this to add a new one. Click on the edit tool, click on the search icon here for serial port. Nothing comes up because it's an edge computer. So you need to put in /dev/ttys1 and then give it a name and then save it. I'm not going to do that because I already have one, but that's what you would do if you didn't have one already. Okay. And now what I recommend doing at this point is a little bit of debugging. So grab a debug node and just go ahead and hook that up to your gateway node. Okay, and then we're going to hit deploy. Now what we want to do is go ahead and force a transmission from the wireless sensor you're working with. You can do that by just pressing the reset button on it. I'll do that now. I'm working with the temperature humidity sensor, so I can drill in here and I can see what kind of information this sensor has. And we can log any of this data that we want. I'm just going to log the humidity and temperature values. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in a change node here. And we're going to set message.payload to, and what I'll actually do is I'll get the sensor data here, copy that path, put that right there, done. So what I've done was I basically just took the sensor data object here that has temperature and humidity inside of it, and I just made that the payload. So instead of all of this stuff in the payload, now I'm just going to have temperature and humidity. So next we want to take those readings and put it into a CSV file. So we'll drag the CSV node in here. We'll double click on that. And we need to enter some columns. And these columns need to be basically the same names as your readings here. So like humidity and temperature. So I need to put in humidity, comma, temperature. Okay. And I believe that is all that we really need to do here. Message per row. Yes. Okay. So done. Now we want to write that file. We actually need to write the file locally before we upload it. So here we're going to give it a file name, and we're going to go into the root directory on our IoT Edge Computer, and we'll name the file something like sensor.csv. You can name it whatever you want. Let me just double check I have that right. It looks like I may have actually grabbed the wrong file node here. Okay, maybe not. We'll give it a shot. And then lastly, we need our Dropbox node. Okay, so we're going to get the Dropbox out node here. Oh, and you're going to have to install this Dropbox library. Pretty simple to do on the IoT Edge Computer. Just make sure it's connected to a network with internet connection. Click on the little menu button up here. Click Manage Palette. Go to Install and search for Dropbox. And you're going to see node-red-node-Dropbox. At the time of making this video, that library is 4 years and 6 months old. So that is the one that I'm using. Node-red-node-Dropbox. Okay, and just click on Install, it'll install it on the Edge computer. Once it's done, it'll tell you that it's installed, and you will see these nodes over here. Once it's installed, grab a Dropbox out node, drag it into your flow, double click on it. We want to give it a file name to use on Dropbox. So we can call it node-red-ncd-1/sensor.csv. That's where it's going to save it on Dropbox. Locally, we're saving that file to /root/sensor.csv. So this is the file it's going to grab and upload when triggered. Oh, and we also need to configure the connection to Dropbox. We had copied that access token earlier after we clicked on generate access token here. You can go ahead and do it again. You can do it as many times as you want. Copy that, come back in Node-RED, and then just paste that in there. And you can actually name this the security node here, ncd-red, or I'm sorry, it's node-red-ncd-1. Okay. Done. And then we just need to link all this together. There you go. And we will deploy this. Yeah, I don't think that we have the right file node there. Okay, that's the one that we want. So we don't want that one. The one that you want is the file node, not the file in node. So you drag that file node in there. Double click on it. And this is important. You need to click on create directory if it doesn't exist. Now we're going to give it a file name of /root/sensor.csv. And we're going to append to the file because every time that this flow runs, it's going to create a new CSV row. You can add a new line if you want to. That's up to you. Just depends on how you're ingesting it. I'm going to go ahead and say not to. Well, you know what? We'll just leave that checked. And that is all for that. So we will hook these nodes up. And one other thing that you may do, just so you don't get trash data in here, we'll just check that this is the type of data that we're expecting. And to do that, we'll bring in the switch node and drop it in between the gateway and the change node here. And we're going to say property, let's just check the sensor type. Or actually, you know what, we'll check the address. So we'll make sure that this is coming from the correct address. So to do that, I'm looking at a telemetry message that I got from that debug node. And I'm just scrolling over the address here and then clicking on this little copy path button. And then I'm going to paste that in right here. And then we're going to say equal. We want to make sure this is AZ. It's like a string. And then come over here and we want to copy this value. Put that in there and hit done. And now this switch node is going to make sure that we don't get any transmissions through here that aren't from that sensor. Okay, so now we'll click on deploy, confirm deploy. And now we'll just go ahead and hit reset on our sensor. We see uploading here. and the uploading went away. So we can go to Dropbox now. And we uploaded that to ncd-red-ncd-1, or I'm sorry, node-red-ncd-1. So we'll open that. And we see that we have a sensor.csv file here. So let's take a look at that. And that has got readings from that one transmission we sent. So that's all that there is to it. To recap, you need to go to dropbox.com/developers, or I'm sorry, /developer, create an app there, make sure all the settings for it are correct, and download the token. Then in Node-RED, you've got a gateway node. We've got a switch node just to make sure we don't get any trash transmissions or triggers through here. Then we've got this change node where we're just pulling the sensor data out of the bottom of the pile and just putting that on top. And then we're formatting that data into CSV format. That's basically all this node's doing. We're saving it to a local file in the IoT Edge Computer, and then we're uploading that file to Dropbox. Now, another thing you could do, you could delete this line if you wanted to, and you could use an inject node here. Double click on that, just tell it not to output anything, and just give it a name of trigger, upload, done. Now we can hook that up. And this way, if you want to be able to just manually upload the CSV file whenever you want to, you can just open up this Node-RED flow and click this little trigger here. And that would upload the file to Dropbox. Another thing you could do, if you want to do this on a scheduled timer, you could double click on that, and you could just set this to repeat on an interval or at a specific time. So we could set it to interval, and we could say that we want to do a file upload every 8 hours. Okay. So what we would do is we would actually check inject once, and what that means is whenever the Node-RED flow starts running, it's going to do an upload, and then 8 hours after that, it'll do another upload. But you can change it from interval to specific times, at a specific time. Totally up to you, whatever you want to do there. So the inject node would allow you to kind of control when that CSV file is being uploaded. In case this is like a cellular application or something like that, you could minimize your data communication. So yeah, that's all there is to it. If you have any questions, be sure and reach out to us. To get a hold of us, go to ncd.io, scroll all the way to the bottom of the page, click on Contact Us. And if you're looking for technical support help, sales help, whatever, this is where you can get a hold of us. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day and stay safe.